Just a Little Shady, episode 15, take 1. I know, Lottie, that was
You
scary.
scared our special guest. We had to bring Lottie on the podcast. I've actually seen comments of people requesting this very moment.
Have they?
Yes.
She looks so intrigued by me right now. She's just staring into my soul.
Is she looking at Peter Evans? Oh my God.
I think she likes Peter.
I don't know. That's the same Peter that Wolf tried to devour last
She's
year.
devising her plan.
I think she's pissed because it's so bright in here.
She's like, what's going on? Well,
But
and I
yeah.
feel like her and Wolf used to like hanging out in this room. I feel like they really don't get to do that anymore.
She definitely used to like coming in here.
I feel like I would
Yeah.
randomly find her in here, and now I feel like she gravitates towards Evan's office.
Say hi, everyone. Yeah. So I have seen comments asking for her to come on. She's probably the cutest thing you'll ever see on this podcast.
I mean, and people have been asking for a guest, and
Here you go.
what more could you ask for?
Lottie, what do you have to say to the people? And you heard it here first.
Incredible content we're producing over here.
Oh, God.
Groundbreaking stuff, really.
You know what? Speaking of the dogs, today's episode is sponsored by Casetify, which I previously mentioned that I designed my own case on the Casetify site with pics of my dogs on it. And you can see in this case, it's still slim design, but it's still got ultra impact. So it's going to be up to 9.8 feet drop proof. And it has the signature Casetify ring around the camera lens still, which is not only cute, but is going to protect your camera lens. And also, if you don't want to design your own case, they do have tons and tons of designs to choose from already. So make sure you check that out. And all of their cases are going to be up to 65% recycled materials. So in some of them, you'll even see speckles around the case because they're eco-friendly. And if you want to check it out and get 15% off your order, go to casetify.com/justalittleshadyyt. And yeah, let's get back to the video. Not that much has happened in the past week. I guess there's been a few things. Really, let's start with one that is something I've been watching.
Something. I was going to ask a question. I was going to say something that I haven't been watching. I don't know what I'm saying.
The delusions are getting more and more severe.
I don't know what I was going to try to say.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
Is it? Well,
including Lottie.
mainly I was concerned that we didn't hit record on the sound button and got kind of distracted. It's recording. So as I was saying something, I was like, something.
So it's not like last week where we literally did not turn on one whole camera and had to restart.
No, not like that at all. That was quite miserable.
Tragic. Again, small potatoes. You know what though? There's a saying that if that's the worst thing that happens to you today, then you've got it made.
We really do.
And you know what? We can fully accept that. That is true. What was I going to say about this week? What I'm watching.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You started singing to me. I felt a little uncomfortable.
Me too.
You looked me dead in the eyes and were like, something.
Just be thankful the board's recording.
That's facts. Okay. No, so I'm watching the new Love is Blind. And you have told me before you have not watched it.
No, I have not.
If anyone else is uncultured in the Netflix world, we've decided that we're going to do our own sound effects, so don't be alarmed. It's a very good Netflix show. It's very popular. They're already on season 3, and basically people go in pods. They date for 2 weeks. They're basically speed dating a bunch of people. And then if they choose one, they have to propose. Then they get to see them. Then they live together for, I think, 4 weeks. And then they walk down the aisle, they can choose to say yes or say no. Best part about the show is once everyone gets engaged, sometimes there are people that were gonna go with other people, but then once they see their actual person with the other person that they didn't choose, they wish they would have chose the other one based on looks.
They can do that?
They can't.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I guess they could.
Does it happen?
They will talk about, so the couples get together, they see the person finally, and a lot of them talk about how they're having a hard time connecting with, you know, the person that they envisioned and the actual physical body and their personality and putting them together. And so they get like 2 days with each other before they bring everybody together. And then they all remember each other from talking, and they see the face and they like, you know, and they'll have them in a confessional being like, yeah, so they're actually really good looking and, you know, whatever. And they'll talk about it. And so no one has really left their person for the other person. I don't know if it's an option, but they've talked about being more attracted to the person that they didn't choose.
Dang.
Based on, not personality. So I don't know if love is blind, but it was so funny because this season, before I started watching it, I saw a clip on TikTok of the guy, and this goes back to like all reality shows, how producers, it is literally their job to embarrass you and cause drama. Like,
that's what they're there for. That's
right.
literally probably in their job description.
For some reason, one of the guys on the show thought that they were just on his side and gonna make him look so good. And he goes in the confessional after being rejected by the girl he was talking to in the pod. And they left it rolling, showing him putting in tears in his eyes so that he would look like he was crying about the girl.
That's so bad.
They hoed him, man. They hoed him.
And I'm curious with that, if that's something that they've had other contestants do, or other people on reality shows use those type of eye drops, and he just thought it was the norm.
I mean,
and then he just got outed.
I mean, he clearly thought for whatever reason that they weren't going to put it in there. And it was funny too, because the girl that rejected him actually was saying, she's like, there's something that just feels off. You know, he's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things. And for some reason, her gut freaking told her that this guy was being fake. She like caught on. And everyone in the comments was like, give this guy an Oscar, man. He's good. Like, he obviously went on there to act or whatever. And I don't know if what's going to happen, because Netflix is doing the thing with this show where they only release some and then...
Oh, yeah. A lot of streaming services are doing this. I know some where they will release one episode every single week on the streaming service.
Nothing pisses me off more.
Yeah, I feel like that's not your thing.
Well, I feel like, what is the point of a Netflix? It's just like cable then. If I've got to wait, it's 2022. I've got no attention span and I want it now.
I feel like they want to build up the hype around the series.
Does it?
And not give all the spoilers away right away.
But do you think that it's ever detrimental? Because sometimes I get so irritated that I literally won't go back and watch the rest because I'm like, it took too long.
Yeah, I've gotten that way with certain shows too, where I'll get bored of them or I forget what happens. It happened with Pretty Little Liars. I watched a bunch of seasons, and then eventually it felt like there was too long in between seasons and I wouldn't go back to it. However, I feel like nowadays with all of the TikTok updates and the recaps of shows and episodes that happen there,
It gives it time to hype up more.
It gives it more time to get the show hyped up, to get people talking about it.
I guess in this case it worked in their favor because I literally didn't know that the 3rd season was out until I saw this guy fake crying on there and how the producers hoed him. And I was like, okay, I've got to see what else. There's always a character, like one character on Love is Blind. And he's not really on it anymore, but I was just like, okay, I've got to see who it is this time.
Exactly. And if they put all the episodes out at once, everything would have been leaked and you could probably watch the highlight reel of the entire season on TikTok without ever having to go to Netflix. So I'm sure that's why they do it. I've watched entire movies on TikTok.
They can have their reasoning, but it can still piss me off. And it will.
Truth is truth.
Truth is truth. No, but the other thing about Love is Blind, well, first of all, there was one other funny thing that is going around on TikTok and I saw, so spoiler, I guess, but I already kind of spoiled one thing. The one girl was working out in the pod because, you can't see them. You can only hear their voice. So she was working out while the guy was crying and telling her something. He's like, yeah, I finally feel comfortable to be vulnerable. And he's crying. And she was literally doing jumping jacks.
How disrespectful.
Well, he ended it with her because of that. And I don't want to give the whole spoiler.
Okay.
But
jumping jacks?
Yeah. And then he literally at the end was like, she goes, thank you for sharing that. And he goes, I'm surprised you could hear it over your jumping jacks. So he knew. And she's like, oh, you could hear that? Jumping jacks is one of the loudest exercises you could choose to do if you were going to do that.
That is the most, the least discreet
workout
you could do.
It was one of those things where when they first started showing it, I thought it was a producer edit. I was hoping in my soul that this girl was actually not working. I thought maybe they were clipping her from another time and putting it out and then while he was talking. But no, when he said that at the end, I was like, oh my God, it was real. She was really doing that. But also, apparently Love is Blind is being cast in Metro Detroit.
That's a little alarming.
But what's going to be interesting, so what they do is each season is in a different city.
Right.
And they film the whole thing in that city because once they're out of the pods and they go to the real world for the 4 weeks to see if they're going to get married, they wanted everybody who lived in the same city so that it's your real life to see how you're going to interact with your real everyday life and this person. So they'll be filming in Metro Detroit for the whole season. And what if someone we know or know of is on it?
It's absolutely going to happen that we know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody that is on the show.
Well, they only picked, I think, 6 cities total to be a part of Love is Blind.
And they picked us.
Yeah, and Detroit was one of them.
How far along in casting do you think they are?
I don't know. We got to get our friends on there.
I know.
It would be hilarious.
We have some friends that would be they're made to be on reality TV, I swear.
They would probably beg to differ, but that would make it even more funny.
Oh, yeah.
The one person I'm thinking of literally does not watch TV.
Really?
Yeah.
He would be great.
It would be amazing. It'd be hilarious. He'd be super out of place.
We need to get him on there.
But he'd be there for the right reasons.
He would be there for love.
Aren't they all?
Sure.
Insert fake tears. 1 second. Let me let Lottie out because I feel bad.
Okay.
I think she wants to sleep, but she can't.
She was just yawning. She's like, what's going on?
Please hold. We're going to exit the cuteness.
Welcome back.
Thank you. That was honestly, she was being so cute when I walked her out too. I felt guilty.
She was being really sweet.
But I felt like I was holding her hostage here. She was just wanting to sleep, but we need a bigger chair. Anyway, so yeah, that is something that happened this week. This part of our weekly recap. Also part of the weekly recap. I feel like everyone and their mother knows about this, but Taylor Swift released Midnights. And we'll just make our conclusions quick because we must confess that neither one of us have listened to the whole album, which we are typically people who will.
We are.
But
we're Swifties, I would say.
I don't know if I am. Not that I am a fan of Taylor Swift.
Absolutely.
I do not know if I classify.
I mean, you're not wrong because
it's a lot. It's a lot. It's one of those things where I felt like if I was going to do it, I literally needed to take out a pen and paper and write notes of what, like, it's not just listening, it's decoding. And it's to the point where I feel like if I don't do that, I'm not doing her justice. You know what I'm saying?
No, I have not listened to the album for that exact reason, that it feels daunting, the thought of listening to all of it. And I feel like just listening to it is not enough anymore. I need to have decoded every single Easter egg, every single post she's made.
I don't think it's necessarily her that's made it that way.
No,
I feel like people just come up with things and she's like, yes, I am that genius that I thought of all those little things. And then everyone's thinking every word has a meaning. And we were literally joking about this before. It's like freaking deciphering the National Treasure. There's dog hair on my mic now.
Oh, I mean, that adds up.
It was tickling my chin. I'm like, what the hell? Anyways, so yeah, that's something that we didn't do this week, and I just don't know if I will do it.
I feel like I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
Not right now.
I actually forgot to mention this to you. I think it's a really big thing right now. The Watcher on Netflix.
I've heard that is.
Are you gonna say scary?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it was scary.
You didn't know it was scary?
And so I thought it was just kind of like a reenactment docuseries kind of thing.
It's based on true stories.
Yes, I know. So that's why I thought it was just gonna be. I thought it was gonna be more like the Jeffrey Dahmer thing which that was scary, but in a different way. And we started watching it last night and literally had to turn it off because I was so scared and I didn't know it was scary. So I was not prepared for that at all.
Yep.
At all. So if you're going to watch The Watcher, make sure you know and are prepared because it is scary.
I hear it's like chilling and super alarming, especially if you have children.
Perfect.
So you've been warned.
Do dogs count?
I mean, yeah, they are children.
Anyway, so yeah, I started watching that. I don't know where it's going. I don't like that it's scary and based on true events, and you've been warned. Another thing we warned everybody about was that Tom Brady may not perform well, seeing as though he is having some turmoil in his relationship with what we could classify as a possible, what she has been called. We didn't call her this.
We just read
someone else said it. A witch. And, we were joking around that how is this going to affect his career? We could call her a manifester. Whatever she did, he has not scored a touchdown
in his last game.
Yeah, in the last game.
Not a single touchdown. Playing against a team where he probably should have been able to score a touchdown or two. The team was doing worse than the Lions, I think.
You can interpret that information however you want. But we said we would update because we brought that up a couple weeks ago.
And we're watching for it.
And we're keeping our promise. We're paying attention.
We are officially, I wouldn't say we are Tom Brady stans, but we're following along.
I don't know. I feel like yeah, he could be cursed. I don't know.
We've talked about him arguably of all the topics that we've discussed on the podcast. I think we've talked about Tom Brady the most.
It's not about him though. I find it so interesting that literally he's married to this lady and everyone's like, oh yeah, she's the one who like manifests him doing so good and that's why he always wins and everything like that. And now first time there could potentially be fights going on, which we don't know what's going on in their real life, but you know, we've heard some things about this, you know, divorce papers or divorce lawyers or whatever. And then now all of a sudden he can't score one touchdown.
That's not a coincidence. That's just facts.
And so whatever, we're just saying.
And we'll just let the facts be facts.
And you can do with that information what you will. Anyways, speaking of spooky, let's talk about some of our past Halloween costumes.
I feel like you always had really good Halloween costumes growing up.
I think that we both had a couple that were ahead of the time. For example, I was a pumpkin back then. I feel like that's coming back.
That is.
You were a Bratz doll.
I was a Bratz doll.
That's coming back.
That is.
I recreated one of mine, which was the half angel, half devil.
I loved that one.
And so I was that when we were younger, and you know, I brought that back. But in case you don't have time to, you know, create a whole thing and bring your old costumes back, for example, you know, this past weekend, I actually went to a last minute Halloween gathering and I did not have a costume. So I just did face makeup.
Can't go wrong with that.
And, you know, I feel like we could give some advice to the people of, you know, if you're like us this year, slacking in every single category, behind, not on top of it, we can give you those are our sound effects. Okay. Anyways, we'll give some suggestions because I feel like it's honestly even sometimes better when you just do like makeup. So I did clown makeup and I just put my hair in 2 pigtails.
It was cute.
And it, you know, it was giving clown. It was.
I wasn't there and I knew it was giving clown.
I sent you a photo. And also in the past, I've done this a few times. Didn't have anything, wore all black, and just put cat makeup on.
Yeah.
Easy.
When in doubt, I feel like all black with some kind of, you know, something to zhuzh it up.
You could do a jack-o'-lantern makeup.
You
could do the classic skeleton makeup.
Oh, skeleton's good.
You could do, Evan did this past week because he also did not have a costume, a werewolf.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Werewolf makeup.
On the topic of all black outfits, you could wear all black, get a hat, like a witch's hat. Yeah, be a witch hat.
That's a good one. If you don't want to do makeup and you just want to use clothes that you already have, I thought of this after the fact of this weekend and I was kind of upset, but you could do a cowgirl or a cowboy. I had a cowgirl hat. I had boots. I had a cow print top.
Yeah, because that's super trendy right now too. All of that
just went right over my head. We already said the witch. You could do a vampire.
Easy.
You
can really wear whatever with that.
But I saw a modern vampire and it was basically someone wearing fangs and then pajamas because you know how like vampires don't want to go out or whatever.
Oh, that's cute.
I thought that was cute.
Very clever.
A zombie. You said you were this before. You just ripped up a shirt.
Yep. Put some red paint on it and was on my way.
I don't know why this is on our list.
What is it? Oh,
honestly, yeah. Wait, I wasn't real. I was just trying to think of things. I'm like, we've got some good lists going here, and I said ghost,
and I wrote it down. I agreed. I typed it out. I put it on the sheet, but I would like you to now explain how this would be executed in action.
Yeah. Just put a sheet on, cut some holes in it.
I feel like in theory that's a good idea, but in reality,
what do you have against it?
I just feel like the sheet would fall off. I've never seen someone actually execute the sheet ghost.
That's not our problem. Listen, we've got the ideas. You execute it.
And finally,
and then we also said punk rocker. I don't know. I was picturing like Travis Barker or something.
She says we. use the term we loosely. Haley said punk rocker.
What
I
do
said,
you
yeah.
mean? You could
What do you
easily
mean?
get some, if you don't already have tattoos, get some tattoos
Oh
from
yeah,
Amazon.
just roll up to the tattoo
a
shop.
pirate. You could be a pirate.
Oh,
I was
pirate's
that,
cute.
Yeah, I did that the one
Get a
time.
little puffy sleeve action. Puffy sleeve.
Okay. Actually, I was a pirate one year. It was really easy. I
Yeah.
just wore a corset top and put a bandana on and had a little
A sword.
yeah. And then whatever.
Some boots.
Anyways,
That's cute. I like it.
honestly, that almost led me to getting some tattoos.
For real?
I really liked the sleeve.
You would get tattoos?
This, what am I just gonna go all in, just a whole sleeve? Can you imagine me with the sleeve? I mean, at the time for my costume, it did look kind of cool.
It did. You look tough.
But I don't think I could actually do it.
I mean,
I feel like you have to match that aesthetic. If I don't know if there is an aesthetic, anyone can get a tattoo.
I have tattoos.
And to this day, I would question them.
I like my tattoos.
Some of them, I don't even know what all of yours are anymore. I know the one I know.
3.
Okay.
I have 1. I have my mom's handwriting. 2
Where is that one?
on my side.
Okay. I never see that one.
No, I don't either. I don't see any of them. And then I have one on my wrist that's white ink, and it was supposed to be a lightning bolt, but it just kind of looks like
I can
a
imagine
scar.
that white ink would kind of look
Can't
like
even
a
see
scar.
it.
It was a good thought.
Yeah,
good
I was
in
being
theory.
pressured into another tattoo, and I was like, I'll just do something little. This was better than what it could have been that day.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I want to say how much our Halloween experiences have changed over the years.
Yet stayed the same.
But when you really think about it, all we are is in a different location, doing the same old things, and we're just a little older.
Yeah.
But I do have some funny stories about Halloween.
Oh, I know you do. I'm excited.
In college.
I'm excited to hear 'em.
So first of all, I just have to say this too. You know, this weekend I said I went to a party. It was last minute. Why? I mean, I know why, but why do hangovers when you're older? I feel like past 21, they just get so much worse every time you drink.
I learned about this the other day. I wasn't expecting you to say this either. You know why it gets worse? Is because our metabolism is slowing down. So we're processing the alcohol at a slower rate, which increases the severity of our hangover.
That adds up.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, it's like I lose a day.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it.
It really isn't.
It's just not worth it. But anyways, so back in college. Oh gosh. When I would not be hungover, debilitating for a day. Debilitatingly hungover for a day. I swear. It was like when I turned 22. So from 21 to 22, golden.
No hangovers?
No hangovers. 22 on.
Bad hangovers.
Absolutely terrible.
And anxiety through the roof.
That's
My
the worst
anxiety
part.
gets worse by the day.
That's the worst part. But anyways, so back in the day when we could have fun, and not pay the consequences.
R.I.P.
My first real Halloween party was at school, and we went to a house party. And we didn't really know whose house it was. We just knew it was a house party.
Safe.
I feel like at MSU, that's kind of how it was, though. It was just like a bunch of house parties, and you kind of just go.
Yeah.
But of course, we walk in, and I swear to God, it was like the year and the year above that of our high school.
I can picture that.
And I was like, wow, I cannot escape. And then after about 3 minutes of being there, a fight breaks out. I'm like, wow.
A fight?
I'm going to tell you who too after. But anyway, so you know. Anyway, so yeah, fight breaks out. I'm like, wow, great party. But then the next year, it got even worse because we went to a frat house. And remember in the last thing, we were talking about how the houses are so old.
Yeah.
So they tell us, oh yeah, like you got to go up the stairs, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the stairs are about this big.
Perfect.
So small and almost non-existent, super steep, and all wood. So you have people just spilling drinks on the stairs, and you're somehow supposed to go up and down them. And so on the way up, I literally was thinking in my head, this is not going to be good because I could barely walk up them. And you know, it's hard to fall up the stairs, but it's doable. I've fell up the stairs before. And so when we came back down, thankfully, I went first because if not, I would have taken out everybody. I took one step, shoe slipped. I fucking down every single stair. Yes. And first of all, that's embarrassing as it is, but in a costume.
What were you?
Barely nothing. I mean, I had on fishnets.
That?
I had on fishnet shorts, so my bare leg was scraping down the wood stairs, and some kind of corset. I feel like I was a teacher or something. I don't know. Maybe I had like a white button up on. I don't remember. It's a blur from the first year and the second year. But anyways, so that's where we used to be in Halloween. And I don't know how much we've progressed, but at least with our friends, we do things a little differently, I would say, at parties. And I feel like we could give the people a couple ideas about
what we do,
what
the happenings are. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel as if our friends start
traditionally.
Yeah, like the traditional party route. Some flip cup, some mingling.
Some what?
Mingling. Like we're talking with each other. You know, like nothing's too crazy.
Bingling. Some beer pong, some, you know.
The normal things. But after, about an hour or so of that.
I think the focus of this really needs to be what we really do. And that is inevitably karaoke. And I think that's what really sets us apart from a normal party. And it's every time.
We somehow always manage to have, a microphone on deck ready to go.
It's no accident.
We want it to happen.
But it's not even traditional karaoke. It's like put on every song that everyone knows all the words to, and whoever has the mic is screaming into the mic. However, everyone else is also participating. It's not one person goes up and sings their soul to you. It is everyone screaming and just passing the mic, grabbing it, yelling into the mic. And that is what we do for fun. And it's
I have a good time every time. It's never not been fun.
It's between that or everyone who's already been at the party for hours going out of the room and entering one by one as someone announces them on the microphone as if they are a basketball player coming
full
into
stats.
A game. Yeah, full stats, everything. And so, we always end up somehow with a microphone and
we use it effectively.
Yeah, it's an effective party plan.
So
feel free to take that.
Yeah. The bottom line here is if you're having boring parties, get a microphone and you're going to have way more fun.
I think my go-to, if I have a say on what gets on the mic when I'm grabbing it, is super bass.
That's your karaoke go-to?
I think so.
See,
it gets the people going.
It does. And this is a song I thought got the people going. And
really? It's...
and you know what I'm about to say because I've shared this before. My go-to karaoke song is Family Affair.
Incredible.
Yes, it is incredible.
You're probably the only person that's ever said that ever.
I love that song.
I mean, I do too.
I practiced that song in my car. And one time at work, I was asked what my go-to karaoke song was. And I feel like, people usually get hype when people talk about their karaoke song. They're like, oh, that's a good one. And I said my karaoke song, and I thought it was, The Cat's Pajamas. And it was crickets. Not a single person thought that was a good idea or said anything about it. And then they just moved on to the next question.
I think you may have just thrown them for a loop.
It's such a good song.
Never heard. It's always like Picture by Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow.
Boring.
Or like, you know what I mean? It's like the typical ones. And then there's you being like, let's get it crunk up on the...
It's so fun. Like once you hear it, you're like... Gots to dance for me, don't need no hate.
Oh, okay. You're going to get us demonetized.
Sorry.
We're going to get flagged copyright.
No more of that.
Anyway. Incredible. Yeah, so that's kind of what we plan to do this weekend. And,
big plans.
super important and meaningful. Anyways, no, that's pretty much it. We didn't do much this past week, I feel like.
No.
You were unwell.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I was doing.
You were bored because I was unwell, so she didn't have much to do.
You know what the funny thing about that is? I literally have to say to Evan, he'll be like, oh, are you doing anything with your friends? I go, who? I go, I have two. One's in another state. And one, if you're busy, then what am I supposed to do?
Then what?
I know. And he says this all the time. I mean, there's mad.
Yeah.
But, like when we actually do activities, I've got I could count on one hand.
Gang's all here.
Yeah, literally like the SpongeBob thing. That's me. And so he'll be like, oh yeah, what are you doing? It's like, you know what I'm doing because you've either seen Brittany or
she's not here.
Or she's not here. And so that's where we are. Yeah, so I didn't really do much except the unexpected Halloween party. And that was fun.
Yeah. Looked
Other
fun.
than that, I worked, and that's life. And with that note, let's get into our last. We're ending spooky season for the podcast.
Very sad about this, but I'm kind of excited to get back to Shady stories. I do miss them a bit.
Me too. I kind of miss the playa activity.
Yeah, we haven't heard about a playa in months.
We'll get back to that. It'll be good. It'll be fun. The set might just be, a little plain. Maybe we'll get a turkey. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to get to the spooky stories for our last bit. Make sure you're still submitting the Shady stories though too. And I will read the first spooky story.
Let's do it.
I have this strange hobby of checking out cemeteries. Although I have never previously had any weird experiences. In particular, there is this old and small cemetery from the 19th century that is really close to where I live. It was semi-abandoned, so I decided to try to take care of it. I would frequently visit the cemetery and try to glue some of the broken headstones back together. One day, when I was trying to mend one of the headstones, I felt this intense feeling of being watched. I scanned around the cemetery and saw a woman in a blue dress sitting behind one of the headstones, peeking out at me. I walked toward the headstone, and the woman seemed to just vanished. I looked around the headstone and all around the cemetery, which was only about 40 feet long and wide and is fenced around, and I saw absolutely no sign of anyone. How the cemetery is laid out, there's only one way to enter and exit, so if someone would have come in or left, I definitely would have seen them. I was so creeped out by that experience that I refused to go back to that cemetery. Fast forward a few years, I had sort of chalked up the entire vanishing cemetery lady to be my eyes playing tricks on me, until I was talking with one of the people in my neighborhood that lives close to the cemetery, and she told me how she has seen a woman in a blue dress wandering the cemetery and vanishing. Mind you, I'd never told her about my experience with the lady, so to me, that confirms I may very well have seen some sort of spirit.
That is very spooky. I, for one, don't think that I would personally choose to hang out in a cemetery alone.
I feel like the moral of the story is probably don't do that.
I would be terrified. I feel like, this situation aside, I would be making up scenarios in my head and constantly feel like something was going on in there.
Yeah. There's definitely some underlying, spookiness to just being at
It's very
the
eerie.
cemetery. Yeah. But definitely, I would say this is like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say 7. Spooky. It didn't happen in their own home. They were able to avoid the situation for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So I agree with 7.
But probably recommend not going to cemeteries, because I feel like you're bound for another situation like this to occur.
I would stray away from there. If it was me.
Oh.
All right, spooky story number 2.
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun. My parents' house is an old house that used to be a military unit in World War II. My father was born there, so he used to tell us stories about a man with a wooden leg that lived in our attic that he and his sister would hear walking every now and then, but we never believed him. 3 years ago, my brother brought home a husky. One night, we were playing video games, and the dog wakes up and jumps on the couch like he was chasing something on the ceiling, rushing from one corner of the room to another, and kept staring at the ceiling, so focused that he didn't hear us calling him. He stayed not moving at all and looking at the same spot for 5 minutes, and we couldn't distract him at all. We were confused because there was nothing in the room, not a single fly or any moths. A couple weeks go by, and my brother sent me a picture of that room with 2 handprints and a footprint mark on the wall near the ceiling, telling me that our house is haunted, and maybe that's why our dog kept seeing things. I thought that he was just wanting to prank me, so I went home and I actually saw the printings on the wall, and none of them would match our hands or footprints. So we couldn't even reach that high to put our hands up there anyways. Still creeps me out to this day, and our husky still acts like this sometimes. That's very spooky. This person also continues the story by saying...
I was so confused.
No, I just wanted to pause before, because the second piece kind of goes off into like different...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like fully with the story, but this person that wrote in said, I'm from Romania, which is Dracula's country, and people there are used to stories like this, and some people in other regions of the country go to cemeteries. They dig up the bodies of a loved one, if they appear in their dreams, and stick them with a wooden stick into their heart of the dead body so the spirit can't haunt them anymore. And that is morbid, and I can't believe that that is real. So this was like 2 parts. Like, one part is the spooky story within the house, which I would give at least a 9 out of 10, because there is physical evidence that there was a ghost there. And then part 2 is, why are we digging up graves?
Isn't that illegal?
I think that's super illegal, but I mean, maybe not there.
Yeah, I don't know. First of all, I feel a little personally attacked by that, since we literally were just talking about my grandparents that passed away visiting me in my dreams. Like, what? So they would just be like, okay, time to go. Here's your stick. Like, what the hell is that? And then, yeah, but with the dogs and seeing things, we always get creeped out if the dogs aren't like looking above us or over us. We're like, where are you looking?
What are you looking at?
Knock it off. And, sometimes Wolf will be doing that. And I'm like,
no,
not today.
I feel like Wolf does it more than Lottie.
Yeah.
And it freaks me out. He'll just stare into the distance. I'm like, we need to cut that out. We are going to bed.
Yeah. So that's definitely a 9 out of 10 at the house. A confusion out of 10
question mark
with the digging of the bodies. I guess I need to know more about the Dracula story.
Yes, we need to look into that.
Yeah, to see what that's all about. Oh, and by the way, update. I did look up the hotel in Cabo to see if it was haunted, and I found nothing.
Ghosts are wiping it from the internet.
Yeah, they're on their keyboards and they are erasing it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the one with my tape recorder.
Spooky.
Ooh. Okay. We've done a lot of sound effects. I will go into the third one.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Last spooky story of the season.
Okay, here we go. I grew up in North St. Louis County, just across the Mississippi River from Alton, Illinois. Alton is known as the most haunted small town in America. When I was around 18, I went on a tour of haunted locations in Alton. There was an old elementary school that had been closed for many years. However, when it was open, there had been a janitor there who took the life of a girl in the restroom. Then he took his own life in the boiler room. When we were on our tour, we got to the restroom, and the guide told us to walk around and guess where the girl had died. There were stalls in the center of the room, so we were able to walk in a circle all the way around them. When I walked past a stall in the back corner, I felt 2 open hands push against my chest with enough force to make me take a step backwards. That was a stall where the girl had died. Fast forward X amount of years, and I was on some YouTube rabbit hole. I found a video from one of those exact ghost hunting show of the exact same school. When they went into the restroom, the exact thing happened in the exact same spot where it happened to me years before. They had also not been told where the girl had died. That is assault by a ghost.
I'm so disturbed, though, by how they were just touring this elementary school, and the tour guides were just like, yeah, guess where she died.
Well, I think that's kind of... They
so
do that
spooky.
I think the point is when you're on those things, you have an idea of what happened, so they're like, oh, guess, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a 9 out of 10 from me.
A 9? See, I would say this for me is more like an 8 because it didn't happen within their home or where they resided. So they were able to leave the situation and leave it behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I guess an 8, I guess a 9. You know what's funny though? The YouTube ghost hunting, I feel like it's probably more, realistic than the shows on
the
TV.
Super produced shows.
And I just love that this is their evidence of like, yes,
this is real.
It's true.
I saw it on YouTube. I mean, I bet YouTube isn't having people put teardrops in people's eyes to make them cry.
Oh, no producers.
Just raw emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I still don't like the thought of that. And I don't think I would ever go on a ghost tour like that.
You don't?
I mean, okay, here's the thing. I've gone on ghost tours of cities, but not where you actually go into the buildings. Yeah, you just kind of walk past and they're like, oh, like, a fire happened here. And they say that this person or whatever, you know what I mean? You just kind of walk around and like they tell you the buildings, but you don't go in. And I could not imagine going in.
I agree. I think it would be really fun to go on a walking tour or a bus tour that's like haunted, but not into the setting in which the haunting takes place.
Especially the actual situation like this where someone was unalived.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different than a city that just has a lot of history.
Right.
Where obviously like through a whole city, yes, people have passed, but like a specific location like that, or like how people go and tour like old asylums and stuff.
No, absolute hard no for me.
Yeah. No.
I'm good.
We like spooky,
but not scary.
Apparently. We're like, oh my God, spooky season. And every time something spooky occurs, we're like, we didn't like that.
No. It's a no from me.
It's a no from me. We like the idea of it, I guess. But anyways, unfortunately, this is our last spooky episode. And we will be back next week with a regular episode. And we will see you guys then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.